So just a video on relationship astrology, in the sense of a lot of us look for compatibility with zodiac signs, whether it's the sun signs or the moon signs or the Venus, Mars, when we're looking at are we going to get on with a potential partner. And I just wanted to put a bit of a psychotherapeutical slant on that. So let's say, for example, you've met someone and you're reading about their Venus sign. So Venus is how we attract, how we attract love, how we give love, how we flirt. Mars is how we initiate those things. So it's our action to do with flirting or how we move towards relationship. Moon signs more to do with our emotions, what our needs are, what our nurturing needs are, and how we nurture. So you might look at those planets in your partner's chart and think, okay, so they have a moon in Scorpio, they have a Venus in Leo, and they have a Mars in Aquarius. And you can get a sense from all of those signs of how they're going to operate. And then you might compare that with what you think you want. So you might want someone who's committed and loyal, or who's fun and flirty and adventurous. You might want someone who takes a relationship seriously, or you might be very, very averse to someone who's got controlling, jealous tendencies. You might even be drawn towards someone who's jealous as well. That might give you a sense of worth. But that's specifically what I wanted to talk about. So when you're looking for what you're attracted to in a partner, what you are potentially unaware of is that you might be choosing what is familiar to you, not necessarily what you want or need on a deeper level. So say, for example, if you had an emotionally abusive childhood, and it could be on any scale, okay, so we could be talking coercive control, quite hideous bullying, or being put down in any particular way, whether it's because of your gender or your looks or your skills. Or you could have had a fantastic childhood with a very small amount of emotional manipulation. So mum might have needed you for her sense of worth. So if you were walking a bit early or talking a bit early, or if there was an expectation on her to be a better mother, she might have put that onto you without really realising the consequence of that. But depending on how sensitive you are, those things will be relative. So whether you had the good childhood with the slightly controlling mother, or whether you had a really, really extreme childhood with abuse, how sensitive you are as an individual will shape how much you learn from that, and then what you will be driven towards finding attractive. So it doesn't necessarily mean that that is good for you. It means that on an unconscious level, you're attracted to those particular traits. So you might read, say, for example, that someone's got Venus conjunct Pluto in their birth chart. And a lot of the descriptions of that can be quite foul. And they talk about abuse and power dynamics and jealousy and control. There's only one aspect of it, so that there is a potential for it. There are other potentials of Venus-Pluto. But say, for example, it's someone who's got the more malefic Venus-Pluto, where they haven't done a lot of inner work. They might well be jealous and controlling in relationship, but something about that to you feels appealing. Doesn't necessarily mean that that is good for you. And it might be that you've already become attracted to this individual, and you're now looking at the birth chart, the synastry chart, and how your charts, for example, communicate with each other. And all of a sudden you see that you've got something like Mars, Pluto, or Moon, Neptune, or some of the things that are a bit more confusing, or could potentially create more hostility between the two of you, or you might have some oppositions or squares in the synastry where there is a clashing. And although on some level you know it's not good for you, you continue to stay in the relationship because it feels what we might call karmic. And I'm not making light of that, of the karmic principles. Yes, absolutely, that's a whole other conversation. But sometimes we can feel that something is karmic and fate when actually it's just it mimics a pattern of our childhood which is unresolved. So we're actually finding it in relationship. That's not necessarily a bad thing if the two of you are conscious and you are willing to notice that you pull out of each other or you activate in that each other patterns of the past. Where it can become destructive is where you are projecting these unintegrated parts of yourself onto your partner and trying to get them to change rather than looking at your own state and saying, okay, why do I keep choosing these partners that make me feel abandoned or neglected or abused or isolated? Those things are already there. The partner is just giving you the opportunity to really feel those things that you might have long forgotten or not even had the part of the brain that actually will be able to make sense and remember those things might not have been developed if this was really, really early on in childhood development. So when you are looking at synastry and what you're attracted to in a partner, just see if you can have a slightly broader perspective on what it is that you're attracted to in astrology. Why are you drawn towards these particular signs that have these particular qualities, and is that healthy for you? If the two of you aren't consciously willing to say, okay, I have trauma in my past, you're triggering me, how can we work with this with each other? I recognise that what's coming up for me isn't all about you, although you're bringing it to me in this interaction that we're having. And that's conscious relationships, which are where we're headed. It's where we should be going, especially in these times where all of us are being are having old wounds reactivated from the stress of the current environment of being, locked in with people 24/7 for a lot of us right now.